Thank you, thank you. Welcome to Throwback Thursday. Throughout the 7 years of this broadcast, I've dealt with a lot of issues related to education and issues that we face in everyday life. But almost a year ago, we focused in on leaving your child home alone. Now, there is a lot that you can do. There is lots you can do to make sure you leave your child home alone. And you may not know this, but if you leave your child home alone under the age of 10 or something, you as a parent can be charged with child neglect. And that can really happen. Last year, we focused on leaving your child home alone. That was a crappy video we did, and we're gonna re-update one today, and we're also gonna do one on a special 1 year anniversary of that issue with some common sense. But we're going to give you just a little bit of a taste of what's happening here, because there is something I didn't want, because I want to mention something that I didn't talk about, and what I'm going to talk about in Throwback there on Sunday. You might be a little confused, but you might be a little confused, might not be, but this may help.
Hi! Have you ever been home alone? Of course you have! Unless you're like under 8 years old. So then you know that awesome feeling when your parents leave for a day. It's like, holy shit! I have the house to myself! I can do anything I want! Time to order some porn! I'm having Nutella for dinner, bitch! I'm pissing in the plant! I'm pissing in the plant! Hell will do it! I'm a fucking dog! No matter who you are, you know how fun it is. You can do stuff you normally can't do, like blaring your music. You can yell at people as much as you want on Xbox without worrying about your parents. How about you shut your fucking face? Oh, nice one, you choker. Yeah, I said that. You suck on nice, scrumptious, big hairy chodes! Hell, you can take it a step further and do it in real life. Almost there. I've approached the royal gingerbread man's lair. Give it up, you tasty fucking bastard! Or else I'll exterminate you in every goddamn gumdrop in your ginger body! Suit yourself. What the hell is this? You think this shall fool me? You're a fucking cookie! All hell shall rain down upon you, and there'll be nothing but crumbs! You hear me? Nothing but crumbs! Another great thing, you can wear whatever you want, however you want, and not have your parents yell at you. Guess what, Mom? I'm wearing my pants backwards, and I don't give a fuck! Yeah, I'm cooler than LeBron James eating macaroni and cheese. Bam! Not only did you wear your pants backwards, but now you started a trend. All thanks because you weren't held down by your parents. You can also throw a bomb-ass party that you probably won't even remember. Damn, we're home. Oh shit! But you might want to wake up before your parents get home, or your ass is grass. Now there's one thing that makes being alone not so fun. That's when it gets real late at night and you start hearing things. Like someone's trying to break into your house, or even scarier, a ghost is trying to haunt you. What the fuck? Now most of the time, it really is all in your mind. You hear the tiniest little sound, and then you flip a shit! Oh my god! What the fuck was that? And then you ask who's there, like someone's gonna really come out and respond to you. Hello? Is anyone there? Oh, hey dude. What the heck's your problem? Why are you making random noises? I don't know. I guess guess I'm trying to scare you or something. Well, can you stop? Because it's distracting. Sorry. Hey, you want to be friends or something? No, go away! Okay. Fucking ghosts, man. No respect. Yeah, that's not really how it goes. What you really do is you check every door to your house, and every time you open up the door, you make a really loud sound. Like that's going to do something. If you're not that brave, then you hide in your room with your door locked. And you don't open that shit until it's the next day, even if you have to go to the bathroom. Oh no. It's happening. Ooh, look at that pee-pee. Oh, I just sold my pots! Okay, besides all that, being home alone is pretty awesome. You can even invite your special friend over, and you guys can, play patty cake! If you love being home alone, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're already living on your own, congratulations. You're more of an adult than I am. Fuck you! Joking! Where am I?
For more information for being home alone, check out our special throwback, our special Game Break Sunday, all about Home Alone 1 year edition with some common sense. That's on Sunday, but I just want to give you a little taste of what's on Sunday. Coming up, some stories, so a throwback to some Dateline stories that really got me on the edge of my seat. Don't go away. Alright, last season, we focused in on bystanders. We also focused in on breaking up fights. We showed you a fight that happened at a Whataburger. And one of the viewers on that episode commented saying, "Won't you get hurt?" I responded by saying, "Yes, you may. If you break up the fight, you can get injured, you can get hurt. But you're doing the right thing by stepping up and breaking up the fight. That's what you're doing." But the question you got to ask yourself is, if I were in that situation, what would I do? Would I just film with my cell phone? Would I break up the fight, or would I just walk away? Most people have cellular devices, and they use those cellular devices to film the fight, post it on social media, and they get lots of views, and it goes on YouTube, and they become world star famous. I raised common sense by saying, hey, put down the camera and break up the fight. They're all busy filming it and posting to social media. Dude, put down the camera, break up the fight, walk away. Or stay and wait for the police to show up. Because you were the witness and you broke up the fight. You're about to see an experiment that was being done by Dateline's hidden cameras. All about bystanders. Here's Dennis Murphy.
Get this guy's car, just a bender. And he went to his truck and got a crowbar and started beating her car.
It happened to Dorotha Word's daughter, Delitha, at 2 in the morning on a weekend last August. She was headed home after a summer night spin through Belle Isle, Detroit's popular island park, when she sideswiped a car and didn't stop. Moments later, she got stuck in traffic coming across the bridge that connects Belle Isle with Detroit. The man whose car she hit caught up with her.
Started beating her and telling her, look what she did to his car.
The young man, a 6'4", 270-pound former high school football player, was in a rage. According to police accounts, he pulled Delitha from her car, stripped her nearly naked, and began beating her savagely on this bridge. Delitha, not 5 feet tall, escaped her attacker twice, and twice he caught her. She broke away once more and climbed over the side of the bridge, clinging to the railing for her life. But when her attacker came at her again, this time swinging a car jack, Delitha let go, falling 30 feet into the Detroit River.
She couldn't swim, no.
2 men drove up after Delitha jumped and dove into the water to try to save her. She disappeared under the swift current. Her body was found the next morning. And what grieves and angers Dorotha Word, even as much as her daughter's death, is that dozens of people stood by and watched as the attack went on for 25 minutes, and no one tried to help, or even to call police, until Delitha was in the river. Some of the bystanders had cell phones, and there was a police station just at the end of the bridge.
The reason we know, Miss Word, what happened on that bridge, because there were people there watching it there.
Yes.
People saw every bit of it.
Yes.
Cars were stopped, people got out of their cars.
Yes. I can't believe it.
it's something I have to live with for the rest of my life.
Harvey Mayberry was one of the dozens of bystanders that terrible night on the Belle Isle Bridge.
What was going on?
He body slammed her to the concrete, he choked her, he hit her, you name it, he just practically did it.
Mayberry and the others watched as the attacker held Delita out to the crowd and asked if any of them wanted a piece of her.
Did you feel like you were watching a movie, Nick?
A horror.
That crowd would become notorious nationwide as the bystanders, the incomprehensible bystanders who watched and did nothing as a young woman suffered a horrific death.
How could you just stand by, idly by, and watch somebody beat somebody like this and beat them, and you don't do anything? You don't even try to stop them. I mean, 35 or 40 people's could have rushed him and even try to do that.
I would never forget that night. I mean, and I'm always wondering, what if I'd have done this, if I'd have done that?
But he did nothing, and neither did bystanders in a frightening litany of recent incidents. In Washington, D.C., 4 construction workers watched as a woman was mugged. In Los Angeles, 30 bus passengers just sat in their seats as their driver was beaten senseless. And in Virginia, 6 people stood by as a store clerk was badly beaten and left bleeding in a corner. No one even called police.
When you hear tragic stories like Delita Words and countless others like it, you might ask yourself, how could those people be so inhuman? And you might say to yourself, well, if I'm in there, surely I would have stepped in and done something. But would you? University researchers have been asking exactly that question now for decades, and what they found out about bystanders, like those people on the bridge, could cause you to disregard forever that old adage, there's safety in numbers.
There's trouble in numbers. People tend to freeze each other and cause each other not to respond.
Princeton psychology professor John Darley was inspired to run a series of experiments on bystanders by something that happened nearly 30 years ago. Another notorious case of inaction. The murder of a young New York woman, Kitty Genovese. Genovese screamed for help repeatedly during the 35-minute stabbing, but no help came, even though more than 36 neighbors heard her cries from their apartments. The public was horrified, but Professor Darley says they shouldn't have been surprised.
We see these incidents on television, John, and we say we're not that spineless person.
You're exactly right. That's what we say. We mustn't keep coming to that conclusion. We have to think about the uncomfortable fact, the uncomfortable truth, that I might not help.
Darley says there is something else, something more than fear of getting hurt or involved that governs our responses. There's inaction in numbers. The more people who hear or see someone in trouble, the less likely that any individual will help.
The person who crumbles to the sidewalk with a heart attack, are they better off having one person there or 3 or 4 people see?
I'm afraid they're better off having one person there. Because if one person is there, that one person knows, if this person is going to get help, it has to come from me. This is all pretty standard.
To demonstrate his findings that people react differently in groups than alone, Dr. Darley and his colleague Jeff Stone put some students to the bystander test. They were brought into a video lab room under the guise of watching a tape and commenting on it. They'd be paid $10 for evaluating the tape.
So that's sort of how this whole thing's set up.
As the students arrived, they were walked past a man posing as a maintenance worker. 5 minutes into the videotape, the students would hear what seemed to be the man falling from his ladder and moaning, out of view around the corner. Our hidden cameras watched to see how they'd respond. At first, there's just one test subject behind our one-way mirror.
Whoa!
I heard this sort of cry or a groan. I decided it was definitely something that needs to be investigated.
Very common single-person reaction.
Single person reaction. Nobody else. I gotta move.
Another student, another crash.
Whoa!
The student has to evaluate what he's hearing and decide to help or not.
Notice the poker face. Isn't that marvelous? He's helping me. He turned off the tape so we can go back and start the tape where it was while he's helping.
What made you decide to act, to intervene?
The fact that I was the only one there, I had to do something.
Again and again in his research, Darley found that the overwhelming majority of people, when alone, help.
He didn't answer when I asked him if he was okay, so I ran out. And at that point, I was really scared. I thought about what I'd do, and I thought I'd scream 911.
But adding passive bystanders to the mix drastically altered the results. Watch what happens when Dr. Darley plants two people in the room, people who've been instructed not to react when they hear the crash.
I thought, man, no matter how many people are in here, somebody's got to get up and go and check.
The two men instructed not to react are on the left and right of the picture. So what happens to the man in the middle? As instructed, the Confederates look up, then go back to watching the videotape. The subject glances around, then goes back to his work, as the moans continue for 14 seconds.
Emmanuel, did your brain tell you, here's a guy in trouble?
Yes.
You didn't get up.
No, I didn't get up.
Why didn't you intervene, do you think?
Because of the two people on my side. They did not react at all. So I figured they must know something that I don't know.
The group dynamic kicked in. Even though there was no danger if a person answered the call for help, time after time the subject sat frozen when flanked by others who did not react.
To go against a group is to say, all of you are wrong and I am right. And that's a hard thing for people to do.
Watch his reaction. He seems to look to the others to help him evaluate what's going on. He doesn't budge.
Now I know that I would be one of those people who you watch disgustedly on the news and say, why didn't you do anything? Thinking about it afterward kind of makes you feel like a sheep. You just feel like you're controlled by what other people do and you don't really have too much control over what you think or what you do.
And that, according to Darley, is exactly what happens in most cases. People take their cues from those around them to decide how to act. If they're surrounded by poker faces, they are more likely not to respond.
What makes some of us heroes and some of us sheep?
More than we would like to think coincidence, I'm afraid. If many other people are not acting, if my confusion, my puzzlement overwhelm me, then I'm less likely to act. Within me, there's the hero. Within me, there's the non-responding bystander.
Also at play is a natural response psychologists call diffusion of responsibility. We tell ourselves that someone else will probably help, will probably handle it better than we will. And not the least of it is the fear of making a fool of ourselves.
We're stepping on stage not knowing our lines. We may embarrass ourselves, and we are intruding in a situation in which we may embarrass the people we intrude in. Are you okay?
Dr. Darley says people alone help 80% of the time, but people in groups only 20% of the time. Which means only about 1 in 5 of us would react as David Brown did, as he breaks the force field of the strangers around him.
Whoa! The crash. The two Confederates notice. You can't help but notice. He hears it, looks, and it's almost as if he's looking at a wall. And he was clearly coping with, they're not acting. They're telling me there's no trouble here, and dealing with that.
Sometimes what everybody else is doing is not necessarily the right thing. So if you just kind of ignore it and do whatever you think is right.
Good advice, but a highly unusual reaction. Dead opposite of what most of us do when we're just another face in the crowd. So what should we do if we get in trouble?
If we find ourselves the victim, if we are the person on the sidewalk with a heart attack, and we see the people out there who might help, but their faces are just frozen like fire, what do we do?
Let's make clear that there's no ambiguity about what's happening. I'm saying I'm the victim. I really need help. Everybody, I really need help. And you, Mr. You, I'm looking you in the eyes. Will you please do whatever?
Take a face out of the crowd?
Take a face out of the crowd. That person knows the responsibility rests with him, with her.
Dr. Darley says that just one person stepping forward in a crowd can transform the group from passive to active.
The thing that haunts us, I suspect, is that might have happened on the Detroit Bridge.
It is a question that haunts Harvey Mayberry every day.
For the rest of my life, I'm going to deal with that. Yep, I had done this, then maybe she still did.
But it took one person to step forward still, and nobody did.
Nobody did. But I honestly believe if one person had to step forward, so I know I would have. But to be the first one, no.
We can all find ourselves on that bridge, and we could all find ourselves not responding. But if we understand why that might be so, we are more likely to be free to respond.
Just yesterday, a jury in Detroit brought back a guilty verdict for the man charged with killing Delitha Ward. 20-year-old Martell Welch Jr. could be sentenced to life in prison.
Wow. Here would be a great example. I pick you, I pick you, I pick you. Pick this person, that person, that person. If someone has CPR, like I see someone, if you don't know CPR, one person would just do the CPR. Excuse me. It'd be like this. You okay? You. Call 911. And then you would do the CPR. You would save somebody's life instead of just walking away. Because you didn't want to be a part of this. We can all use some common sense. Put down the damn camera and go do something. Don't sit there like a fucking pole and just watch it like it's a freaking movie. Because it's not a movie. This is the real deal here. The real deal is this. Go out there. You see something happening? Do something. Don't sit there and do nothing. Because if you sit there and do nothing, you're going to end up saying to yourself, oh my God, why didn't I help that person? And if you didn't do something, it'd come back and bite you. That's all I got to say here. Well, coming up, earlier this season, we did body cameras where we showed you one of the most shocking body cam footages that have ever made me sick. It involves a student who got pepper sprayed. You'll hear more. We'll be right back. Earlier this season, we showed you a body cam footage, an hour-long body cam footage about a student who was arrested and pepper sprayed by an officer. We showed you this hour-long footage that really got me on the edge of my seat and really got me shocked. It's just one of the stories in 7 years that just made me get out of my seat and made me stunned more than ever. Can you just think about this? I mean, can you just imagine like being in that area, disturbing yourself in the whole class? I mean, take a look at some of the footage. Take a look at some of the footage.
As soon as the basketball's come out, he comes out here and wants to play basketball. So I come up to him, I'm like, Taurus, he said, you're sick. He said, don't approach me like that. I said, I'm a teacher. I can coach you how I want to. I didn't do this intentionally. I just asked you a question. And then I try to go over here. He goes over here, and I try to walk him outside to get him one-on-one. And he's got the basketball, and it comes to me, and I grab the basketball, and then he sort of butts on me and comes at me into my face. And he won't talk to me. And he says, you're a racist motherfucker, and I'll kick your fucking ass. What? You ask Kate. I ain't fucking that shit. But I won't have the conversation in front of you with him. Because he got to know he was wrong and talk to him.
I think that's just this class because the administrators, my counselor, whoever came higher, the teacher for my institute. My institute, I've been taking all 4 years. Mr. Blaine, I've been taking it for 4 years. And they came higher another teacher in that class. So with that being said, my institute, my guidance counselor put me in here, not knowing that I told him I wasn't feeling good. Came to him about that. That was already done on about it. Done on about it. We left it alone. Okay, cool. We're cool. I'm up there in the bleachers, sit down. Finally, when I come down from off the bleachers, you want to come at me aggressive. What happened to you? You supposed to be in the bleachers. Like, that's not how you talk to me. You can be a good citizen, but be aware. When you talking to me, it's respect.
So what happened after that?
After that, it wasn't nothing else to discuss. I walked off and continued on what I was doing. I'm not finna talk to a good old citizen. You could have a little, you feel me? That's not gonna resolve nothing. If I'm not doing that, if I'm minding my own business, don't come to me no type of shit. Now you bumped up against me like that. You bumped up against against me like that?
As a teacher, you didn't play
As a teacher,
organized game.
I told you I went to the end of the end of
You be quiet while I talk.
you discussed. I'm minding my own business. I walked out.
Okay, I organized game, you didn't play. I asked you why you didn't play. You told me you didn't feel well. I didn't buck on your name. I said, okay, it's fine. Next thing you know, the basketballs come out, and now you're on the floor. So I came up to you and I was like, I thought you were sick when we were playing football. Now you're not sick anymore. And next week, you went from here to like that. And you shut it down, and I couldn't talk to you. And that's where we are. I asked you a question. I said, I thought you were sick when we were playing football. And then you went, and you changed it twofold. Like I was coming at you. And then you said, don't come at me like that. I was like, I'm asking you a question. I'm not coming at you. If I came at you, you know it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm 50 years old. I'm too old for that stuff, okay? I've been doing this for 26 freaking years. All right? You got a little bit of experience. So, if you think I'm coming at you, you're totally wrong. I understand. But as a teacher, and as a person of respect, that I do respect these kids, you ask any kids in here, you call me racist, I'm the least racist person in the school. You ask anybody around here. Black, white, or indifferent. Kids, young kids, adults. I guarantee you, I treat this man, the same respect they treat me. Don't call me racist. As a teacher, you're my student. I ask you a question. Should I answer? You got really upset. That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I did from the moment I came in this class. That's the only one I asked you to open up the door.
What
The question was regarding to why this, why that, and I gave you a simple question in return, but you wanted to go further with the
Now the only question I asked you was why you get out play our game. I'm not gonna talk about it.
I let you talk. I let you say what you had to say. What you said over there, supposedly that's not what you said. You came to be aggressive when I said I'm talking in a calm voice. You still had your voice raised while I'm telling you, trying to explain to me why I came down from the bleachers. But you still had your voice up. See, this is why my voice don't stay this tone, because I'm gonna show you how you was doing me right there. I would keep my tone like this.
I asked you a question. I'm like, why are you not sitting down when you were
It don't matter. I gave you your answer.
I'm not arguing.
And you still kept coming at me aggressive. And I let it go and I walked out minding my own business as I was going. When I walked up there on the bleachers and sat down. The reason why you asked me, why was I on the bleachers to begin with, right? Minding my own business once again, so why are you coming at me aggressive?
Okay,
that's my question.
I'm a PE teacher.
Why?
Why? Okay, you asked me a question. I'm a PE teacher. Our two classes are playing a kickball game against each other. Coach Marley versus Coach Mauser. I look up and you're in the bleachers.
That don't got nothing to do with me feeling sick.
I didn't know you were sick at that time. That's why I asked you the question. I'm like, why are you in the bleachers?
How many times I got to tell you?
Okay.
But I think the thing is you were sick, but then when he allowed you guys to have free time, and then you decided you wanted to play.
Not that I decided, but at the time when I was up feeling myself, I'm going to come down and I'm going to interact. Is that a problem?
Yeah, but if he designed a lesson and didn't participate in his lesson.
A lesson. A lesson is not to go out there and play with students just because
this is a physical education class. That is what the lesson
it is. I get that.
So
and I
you didn't
came
participate
down.
in the lesson.
I came
So he's
down
not giving
my time when I was free myself and I went down. So why is that a problem?
The problem is our kickball game we were playing against Coach Mauser.
That's not the point. It's not about the kickball game. It's about me not feeling myself. How many times I gotta say that?
I didn't say a word to you about not playing. Did I say that? I was like, that's fine.
You came to me after I came down on the bleachers. That's my whole point. You keep talking about the
You understand why I asked the question? We're doing a kickball game.
Talking about the game. That's
You
the
don't
whole
play.
point.
But we have free time in basketball. That's what you did. And I asked you a question. So why are you feeling better now when you wasn't earlier?
I think that's a legitimate question.
It doesn't matter. I'm up there on the bleachers and I'm telling you, I was feeling myself. It's the reason why I came down from off the bleachers. It don't matter about no basketball, it don't matter about no kickball. It don't got nothing to do with none of that. I said I was feeling sick. If I'm feeling sick, I'm gonna be up there on the bleachers. Where did you not understanding that? When I'm feeling myself, I'm gonna come down. Where did you not understanding that?
Lower your voice. Lower your voice.
I'm just excusing myself. Anything else you want to customer, if you want to talk to anybody else, I got a lawyer, anything, but you're not gonna come in no type of way and disrespect me. Bro, get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. You got 5 seconds. Get your hands off me.
Whoa.
You got 5 seconds. Get your hands.
you've heard everything you saw earlier this season. Let's just skip to the end, to where he was arrested. Let's skip to the part to where basically what had happened was, during that time, he was being all aggressive. A lot of officers came in. One officer used mace on him. And he didn't want to listen to the officer. He didn't want to listen to the authority on the school nurse. He just basically, while this was happening, he called his dad to come get him on speakerphone, like, "Hey, what's going on? Please come over. Please, blah, 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 so this. And then the officer kept going, bragging on him, hey, put your hands behind your back, put the backpack now. He didn't listen, so right in the eyes, and then all of a sudden, did not want to listen. In this case, he was charged for threatening an officer. And that's bad, because do stupid stuff like this and you can't get in big trouble. There's an 18-year-old student, and if you're 18, you will go to jail. He was charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and assault. That's jail time. That is serious jail time. And this is in Tennessee. And you can be charged with assault and battery. But there's something else we have not covered in this case. We've not showed you the news report. When we come back, the former officer of that incident speaks out in his or her own defense. Please don't go away. Welcome back. Earlier this season, like I talked about, we focused in on a body cam footage that was very disturbing of a student being pepper sprayed by an SRO officer in Tennessee. If you saw the body cam footage, you knew what happened. But there's something we've not covered, something I want to talk to you about here tonight. You're about to hear from the former police officer speaking out in his or her defense. There's a lot of sides to every story, but you will hear that officer side of the story and the former teacher. What do they have to say in your own defense? Here's Hannah Mae.
He's 18 years old, and he's talking to the officer like that. You know, that's wrong. You know, you're supposed to respect the officer, and the officer supposed to respect him. It's a two-way street. This is simply said.
Napoleon Williams is a retired police officer. Williams says when he watched the body camera footage, the situation should have been handled differently. Williams says the PE teacher and SRO should have let the boys sit and co-op. And former teacher Kendra Young says in her years of teaching, she knows when an SRO should be involved in a situation. And she says this was not one of those.
The officer should not have been involved in the situation at all.
Young says SROs should only be called for emergency situations such as a threat to the school or if a student imposes a threat to themselves or others. Young says in this incident, a teacher should have handled it because it was a disciplinary issue rather than an emergency.
The adults in the room were what escalated the situation. And it looked to me like they triggered, the student's fight, flight, or freeze response.
In the last hour, Hamilton County Schools told us they are taking steps based on what they know about the video and Sledge's arrest. A spokesman says they are reviewing policies, procedures, and training for administrators and security officers. He adds they are working with the law enforcement to ensure students are treated with dignity and respect. And finally, the district is providing guidance to schools and law enforcement to promote student-centered relationships.
I told you to take my bag off.
What you just saw there was a brief clip of newly released body cam footage of an altercation between an Eastridge High School student and a student resource officer. Good evening, I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. After a video circulated on social media of the altercation, News Channel 9's Leslie Dominique breaks down what the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office has released. Leslie.
Josh, Kim, that 15-second video has led to polarizing discussion about the role of SROs in schools. Now that we have more than 1 hour of SRO body cam footage, we were able to get more context leading up to that incident. witnessed video of an altercation between a Hamilton County SRO and 18-year-old Eastridge student Taurus Sledge has reached thousands. Newly released body cam footage from SRO Tyler McRae details more than 1 hour of the incident. Here you can see the SRO walking in with a school official and speaking with a gym coach. The coach says he is upset because Sledge wouldn't play kickball, but proceeded to play basketball. The coach says he confronted Sledge, tried to force the basketball out of the student's hands, and that's when Sledge, quote, bucked up.
He won't talk to me, and he says, you're a racist.
We see Sledge speaking with the SRO and school official.
Finally, when I come down from off the bleachers, you want to come at me aggressive. What happened to you? You supposed to be in the bleachers. Like, that's not how you talk to me.
Things first escalate between Sledge and McRae when the SRO puts his hand on Sledge's shoulder.
You got 5 seconds to get your hand. What the you gonna do?
The SRO then follows Sledge up to the bleachers and orders him to leave the gym. Sledge refuses to listen to the SRO's instruction and remains on the bleachers.
Stand up and come with me. Stand up and come with me.
Sledge rejects McRae's commands and the SRO makes contact with the student.
We finna go to the gym. Don't resist me, dude.
At this point, the SRO's camera falls to the ground, and we see glimpses of McRae dragging Sledge by the hair, similar to what we saw in the original video. The SRO grabs Sledge by the backpack strap, ordering him to take the bag off so he can place him in handcuffs. Sledge refuses and then calls his father.
No, I'm not good. Our listeners just got thrown around by the police.
McRae continues to order Sledge to take the bag off, and Sledge continues to refuse.
Take the bag off.
Sledge is unresponsive once he is sprayed. The SRO continues to ask him to take the bag off.
You take the bag off, we'll get you decontaminated. That's all it is. I didn't breathe.
Moments later, Sledge's father shows up to the school to find out exactly what happened. We then see another officer take Sledge and his father into a bathroom and help Sledge to wash out his eyes from the pepper spray. Things calm down significantly, and Sledge is put in handcuffs and put in a police car.
Now that you heard from the teachers and saw what happened, so basically what needs to happen here? You shouldn't be talking to a teacher like that. You never should. You never should be talking to a teacher like that. And if I did talk to a teacher like that, I wouldn't even know who to
I told you to take the bag off.
This body cam footage of
office has released. Leslie.
Josh, Kim, that 15-second...
But then there's more to this story, as we now know.
Put in a police car.
Sheriff Austin Garrett says that the viral video only shows a short part of what happened, and he says he plans to release footage showing the rest of the incident. But one local pastor and the NAACP are still speaking out in support of the young man who's a student right here at Eastridge High School. A video that's now gone viral shows part of what happened after an arrest affidavit says 18-year-old Taurus Sledge got into an altercation with a gym teacher after not participating in a gym activity, but only in free time activities. The affidavit says the gym teacher got the student resource deputy Tyler McRae involved, who in the affidavit says Sledge's loud and aggressive behavior led to this. Sheriff Austin Garrett sent out a statement saying after a full review of the evidence, including school resource deputy's body cam video and school surveillance video, he says in part, quote, "I intend to make this body-worn camera video available to the public. The contents of the video will show the complete picture of the events that occurred that day surrounding this deputy's use of force at Eastridge High School." Pastor Jeffrey Wilson says as a father of a 14-year-old boy, the video that went viral was upsetting to watch.
But to see a child, in a school setting, drugged by his hair, and just treated in that way in front of other students, it's humiliating.
Pastor Wilson used to be on the Hamilton County School Board and says he thinks improvements can be made.
I think that with cultural sensitivity training, these type of situations, 9 times out of 10, can be prevented.
I tried to ask Hamilton County Superintendent Dr. Justin Robertson Wednesday about the incident.
I mean, I'm going to have the same statement that we put out yesterday. We're working with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. They're doing an internal review as we speak, and once that's done, we'll take steps appropriately to move forward.
Ann Pierre, president of the Chattanooga branch of the NAACP, says she spoke with Sledge and his family.
And the young man is an excellent student. And he knew his rights in terms of when you're in a school situation, no one has a right to put their hands on you.
She's calling for the community support.
We need to stand behind the young black people in our school system, particularly the young black men, because they're not treated in the same manner. And when they tell us this, we need to listen.
Sledge is being charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and assault.
Today, students walked out of the classroom at Eastridge High School calling for justice for their classmate, Taurus Sledge. He's the 18-year-old student who was seen on camera being grabbed by his hair and arrested by the school resource officer. It is our Crisis in the Classroom report. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kim Chapman with you.
And I'm Josh Rowe. In the last hour, we learned the SRO seen arrested the student transferred to patrol division. It comes as we continue to see strong reaction from people across our community. We have team coverage tonight. Hannah May will look into how both teachers and
Ridge High School has led to strong reactions in Hamilton County. Today, some of these students had their chance for their voices to be heard.
This was more of a student voice thing, like a lot of us don't feel heard.
Today, a walkout organized by students in protest for student Taurus Sledge following this viewer video.
It was like our last straw, which is what led us to, the protests, the walkout, and all of the topics that we addressed there.
Yesterday, the release of this police body camera video belonging to SRO Tyler McCrae shows more of what happened.
Mr. Sledge laid on his hands on his stomach, so that Mr. McCrae couldn't get his hands out to cuff him. That's a learned behavior. That is not a technique that comes natural to people.
That audio was Tyler McCrae's attorney, Gerald Tidwell, who adds,
Deputy McCrae is not on administrative leave. He has requested a transfer of patrol, which I think is a very telling thing. The police officer would rather go back on the street to work in one of our high schools.
I reached out to attorney Robin Flores, who says as of yesterday, he is no longer representing Mr. Sledge. He would not elaborate why. I spoke to school board member Larry Groen, who represents the East Ridge District, on what the school board expects to do next.
It's developing relationships and establishing trust. And the only way to do that is to actually sit down and have calm discussions about what they would like to see, what can be done.
Students say there's one goal in mind for the student body.
Our school should grow as a whole. Like, our school needs to understand and respect boundaries that they should and shouldn't cross, and when not to cross those boundaries. Unification, that's what we're going for. That's our goal as of right now.
We're going to start a Give Me Back investigation next year into this and what's been going on. So, next year, a Give Me Back investigation into what happened to that student. What will we hear the officer side of the story? We'll never know. But it's the start of a new Give Me Back investigation this next year. So I hope you'll tune in. We're going to have more Throwback Thursday for you with one of my favorite stories last season, all about the raves, and why I chose it as my favorite story when we return. Stay with us. Now, a lot of y'all may be asking me, what's your favorite story to talk about? Well, last season, I talked about the story about raves. Raves were all of these parties that people go to. Usually, when you go to a party, there's like no drugs or alcohol when I was a kid, but these raves happen because of the drugs. Like late night music, the drugs are happening. I chose this as my favorite story ever because we've all need to raise some common sense, because no parent out there is telling their kids that drugs are bad. They're bad for everyone. There's a time and place to do this, and that's college. And when I watched that story years ago, I was kind of skeptical and stunned that it would happen. So, I can now finally believe that when you're dealing with drugs and you're dealing with ecstasy, or X, as people call it, you're basically at 4-to-1. You're basically at a ratio like 4-to-1. So, what else can be? What needs to get done here? Parents have got to understand to talk to their kids about the dangers of drugs and alcohol at an early age. If you do so, they'll get the message that there's a time and place to do this, and that's in college. But college is now banned the use of alcohol because of all these issues. And when we deal with the issue of drugs and alcohol, just Red River Week. We did an issue about Red River Week years ago. We still gotta teach kids to this day that drugs are bad. I don't do drugs, I don't drink. And that's a great reason, because I never did drugs. I never drank alcohol, because if you take a sip of beer down my throat, I'll spit in your face. I'll make you eat that spit and drink, and I'll make you sick. That's the way it's gonna go. You force alcohol down my throat, it'd be like rock, paper, balls. It'd be like while you're drinking rock, paper, ball. Wait, hold on. You get what I mean here? While you're drinking, get socked in the balls. Wow. Just basically like, wow. That's one of my favorite stories. Another one of my favorite stories to talk about was... Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to go back to the archives here from last season. And we might talk about this. Years ago, I came across a primetime live report about about a dinosaur named Sue. It was your fossil and you found it. I mean, what was the big deal of claiming it's the state's fossil? You found something you want to claim. I mean, you may wind up in jail. I don't even know. We might show it to you on our next Throwback Thursday. Another was death education. I had this age restricted for a reason. I wanted to deal with the issue of death education because that's what probably led to that school shooting 9 years later. That 2020 piece. If you watched that 2020 piece back in 1990 on death education, you may have been one of those students years ago at Columbine that knew about this. Another one of my favorite stories is all about Prozac. The pill about being shy. And a pill that would probably help out with shyness. Could a pill really help with shyness? Well, after watching that story and talking about it, maybe it can. Your child's shy, I mean, forcing pills down your throat to be shy? Oh, you shy little buddy. Here, take a Prozac. Make a Family Feud question. Tell me something in a grandma hiding under a cleavage. Crackers. I'm hungry. Come here, little Johnny. Grandmommy got a treat for you. Eat it. Stop crying. Shut up crying. Eat the cracker. It's your grandmammy. I won't bite. We're trying to walk around while building a snowman. All the kids be walking around looking at the snowman going, oh, something's wrong with Frosty. My mama said Frosty needs some penicillin. My mama said Frosty needs some penicillin. And maybe that'll help out. And we also dealt with Dog's Life and the 4-day school week is one of my favorites because why would you have a 4-day school week where you go to school 5 days a week? I mean, stressed out on teachers. I mean, you go to school 5 days a week. Sunday and Thursday school night. Give me a break. And finally, a mom's choice. My life or my baby's. A most heartbreaking story ever. We'll do that for you on our next Throwback Thursday, which will be coming up in the new year, 2 weeks. So we'll keep you posted. But we'll be right back with Viral Break. Throwback Viral Break. On one of our viral breaks, we talked about being hit or kicked in the groin. As a matter of fact, AAV has its head, gut, or groin. Seriously, you cannot laugh when somebody hits or kicks you in the groin. Okay, head or gut? What? I remember that episode of AAV. Alright, boys and one. Head or gut? What? Okay, gut. Hiya! Oh, my gut is iron. Now it's at nut shots at video games. Take a look at this. One nut shots. I mean, who doesn't love getting kicked in the groin? Or watching someone getting kicked in the groin? I mean, take a look at this short here.
How I apologize to my girlfriend because I forgot an important date. I let her punch me 10 cents straight wherever she wants. That was unfair. Erase that plus. How I apologize.
Well, you think that was unfair?
Am I too fat? You think I'm fat? You think I'm fat? Oh my god. Oh my god. Natalie, why'd you kick Brandon in the hole? I got it on video. I didn't play it. Oh my god.
That shit been America's Funniest Home Videos. And it would have. This would have been America's Funniest Home Videos. They would have freaking. Would have. It's just freaking funny. Wow. Anyway, that's Throwback Thursday. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. We'll see you again Break Friday. Follow us here at YouTube. Good night.